Good morning, Lonnie. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning.
Well, I think it's 10:30. Is it okay if we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. My name is Susie Murray. I'm filling in as the zoning administrator this morning while my coworker and the regular zoning administrator is on a well-deserved vacation. So to kick off the meeting, I'm going to call it to order. The first item on our agenda, or item number 2, is a time for public comment. During this period, it's a time for any member of the public to go ahead and comment on any item that's not on the agenda. There will be a time during each agenda item for members of the public to comment, but this again is a time for someone to make comments for something that is not on the agenda. So with that in mind, if you are calling in, if you hit *9, that'll raise your hand. Otherwise, if you'd like to make a comment, go ahead and raise your hand and Lonnie will call on you.
Zoning Administrator Murray, there are no hands raised at this time.
Oh, good. Okay, so we'll get down to my statement of purpose. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the responsibility and authority to conduct public meetings and to take action on discretionary applications. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed within a 10-day or 10 calendar day period. And the appeal will go to the appropriate appeal body, the Design Review Board, Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, or City Council. Again, those appeal applications need to be submitted within 10 days, except if the 10th day falls on a non-working day. So in this case, the 10th day would fall on the 29th of May, which is a Sunday, and the following day, May 30th, is Memorial Day. So it looks like our 10th day would actually be Tuesday, the 31st. So any appeal application would need to be submitted by then. So we don't have any consent items, so I'm just going to move right on to our scheduled items. And the first item on the agenda, 5.1, is a public meeting for the Ramirez fence. This project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Conditional use permit CUP 22-016 for the property at 2009 Stony Oak Court. And I'm going to hand it over to Planner Tumians to give us the project presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. This is Kristen Tumian, Senior Planner. And the first project on today's agenda is the Ramirez Fence Minor Conditional Use Permit located at 2009 Stony Oak Court. And it's a minor conditional use permit request that would allow the construction of a 7-foot fence with one foot of lattice along the side and rear property lines. The proposed fence would provide privacy for the applicant and their neighbors, accounting for significant grade change between each property. Here's an aerial of the project site. The area was substantially affected by the Tubbs fire. Many of the homes, or if not all the homes, were destroyed. This is a site plan for the replacement dwelling on the property. The applicant is proposing a fence set back from the front and then going along the side and rear property lines. The schematic on the right shows kind of where the lengths of the fence that the applicant is proposing. And here is a sort of a schematic drawing showing the gates on either side of the house and the fence going along the side and rear property lines. Here is a photo that the applicant submitted showing an existing neighbor's fence. that has a similar height and design. There were no public comments. There was, I think, one question, and I provided the person that emailed me a copy of the plans, and I didn't hear back after that. So there was maybe one person that was interested, but they didn't voice a concern after the fact. The proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and satisfies the provision of CEQA in that the construction of a fence qualifies for a Class 32 exemption under Section 15303, and that a fence is a residential accessory structure. And the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a minor conditional use permit for the property located at 2009 Stony Oak Court, file number CUP 22-016. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. So I have to say, first, I looked at this and I thought, I'm going to say it publicly. It drives me crazy that an 8-foot fence around side and rear property lines has to go through this process when if they did 2 feet of lattice and 6 feet of solid board, it could be approved over the counter. I don't think that, I mean, it's a quirky thing in our zoning code, and hopefully we get that fixed. So I appreciate the applicant's willingness to try to match what's more closely what's already constructed in their neighborhood, and also step outside the box and go through the fence permit process to get the design that they wanted. So there you have my opinion. I hope I don't get any backlash from that, but then and I reviewed the resolution. I'm good with everything. The only thing that I would ask is that in the title bar of the resolution, if we can include 8 feet, because the overall height, I think, is 8 feet with the kickboard, the fence boards, and then the lattice on top. And does the applicant want to add anything? I guess, and I need to open up public comment too here. So first, the applicant. If they're here and would like to comment, they've got their minute. No?
Zoning administrator, I don't see any hands raised, and I'm not sure if the member of this applicant team is here.
Okay, then I'm going to open it up for public comment. And I apologize to anybody that's listening. As I said, I'm filling in today, so I'm trying to read the agenda and my script and keep the meeting going. So anyways, let's go ahead and open it up for public comment. Do we see any hands raised, Lonnie?
I do not. And just a reminder for anyone just joining, if you wish to make a public comment, you can click the hand icon at the bottom of your screen. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand. And it doesn't look like any hands are raised.
Okay, well, I jumped ahead of the game and I already gave my comments. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and approve this fence. So thank you very much to the applicant, and thank you, Planner 2 Means. So let's move on to item 2. This is another public meeting. It's a fire rebuild, and the project is also exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Requires a hillside development permit number HDP 22-005, and the project address is 3873 Rocky Point Way. I believe we've got 2 planners. We've got a planner team here, but I believe it's Planner Rago that will be doing the presentation on this one. Is that correct? Yes, it is. There she is. Okay, take it away, Planner Rago.
Thank you, Zoning Administrator Murray. This is Anna Rago, Planning Intern. For item 5.2, the project applicant at 3873 Rocky Point Way is requesting a hillside development permit for the rebuild of their residence. The project applicant is requesting a hillside development permit for the rebuild of a 2-story, 5-bedroom, 4.5-bath dwelling with 2 attached 2-car garages that was affected by the 2017 Tubbs fire. Existing impervious surfaces currently on the site is 6,577 square feet. Pre-fire build-out of the site is 12,900 square feet, and the new total livable area of the site will be 3,621 square feet. Site planning minimizes the visual prominence of the hillside development by taking advantage of the existing site features for screening, including tree clusters, depressions in typography, setback hillside plateau areas, and other natural features, in that the project area was damaged in the 2017 Tubbs fire, and the proposed development plans to incorporate native plantings with the remaining existing site features. Project grading respects the natural features and visibly blends with the adjacent properties, and that the home does not extend unnecessarily into the natural terrain, which minimizes the construction footprint and retains existing surviving trees and shrubs outside the construction footprint. This aerial shows the project site highlighted off of Fountain Grove Way on Rocky Point Way. So here's the slope analysis. Site development minimizes alteration of typography, drainage patterns, and vegetation on land with slopes of 10% or more, and that the new development follows the hillside grade. Site development does not alter slopes of 25% or more except in compliance with Code Section 20-32.020B, in that existing slopes do not surpass 25%. The building pad location, design, and construction avoids large areas of the flat pads, and building forms will be steep to conform to site topography, in that the home design fits with the hillside slope, and the location of the proposed home minimizes expansion of flat areas. The parcel is zoned very low residential and is a planned development PD 0134. The proposed project complies with zoning code section 20-32.060, the hillside development standards, and all other applicable provisions of the zoning code, and is consistent with the general plan and any applicable specific plan that is in the single family residential development, and is supported by the very low residential general plan land use. There were no public comments made for this project. The proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Equality Act and satisfies the provisions of CEQA, in that a new or modified single-family residence qualifies for a Class 3 exemption under Section 15303, and that the construction of one single-family residence in a residential zone is applicable. The Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator, by resolution, approve a hillside development permit for the property located at 3873 Rocky Point Way, file number HDP 22-005. And that concludes my presentation.
Is the applicant here and would they like to add any comments?
The applicant is here and would like to provide a comment.
This is Jeff Farrell Faber. Just want to say thank you to Planner Rago and Kristen for their efforts in putting this, and we agree and support their presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have a couple comments, but first I'm going to open it up for public comment. Is there anybody out there that would like to comment on this project other than the applicant team?
I do see a hand raised. Stephanie Bloomfield, I'm going to give you a prompt to speak. And can you please state your name for the record?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
My name is Stephanie Bloomfield, and I'll be brief. I received a card because we have a residence over on Horizon View Way, which looks directly across onto this hillside at 3873 Rocky Point Way. Before our neighborhood was razed in the Tubbs fire, the house at 3873 Rocky Point Way was a 2,500 square foot home built in 1986, nestled in trees. It couldn't be seen by the neighboring homes and was nestled into the slope below the ridge and constructed in a low profile manner that was not a disruption to the views. I recognize this is a hillside permit, but the reason I believe you send these notices to neighbors is so we have the opportunity to weigh in, appreciate the cooperation from the city staff who have provided plans and other information to me relative to this project. The current owners plan to increase the size of the home by over 250%, including 3,600 square feet of interior, 2 attached 2-car for a total of 4-car garages, which were not previously present, 1,500 square feet of outdoor decks on 2 levels. The house is well over 100 feet wide, and its placement and plans involve pouring a second driveway, which will create additional runoff, in addition to the existing driveway that serviced the previous home. This is on a steeply sloped lot. I recognize it may pass all engineering standards, but I wanted to weigh in with my concerns because I looked at slide 3 that Planner Rago put up showing the view of this home from our home, and it's quite a large white structure, completely out of character for what was there before. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on this?
Zoning Administrator Murray, I don't see any more hands raised.
Okay, so first I'd like to thank you very much for your comments. It's real important to me to have public participation in the meetings, and I understand your concerns. And sadly, all the trees were destroyed as part in the fire. So my guess is that the impacts of this home, when and if constructed, will be lessened once the landscaping around it grows up around it. The zoning doesn't say that it has to remain the same size. And in my review of the plans, I was actually quite pleased to see that the house has been designed in a way that it does step down very well with the slope. And it's a developable property. I know it's a much larger home than was there previously, but it still they have still managed to, again, step it with the hillside to minimize encroachment into the steeper slopes and develop it with a home that is really permitted on the property. They aren't they may be disrupting a view, and you'll see a new home. That's the nature of residential development. I'm looking at a map of what was there before, and I can see where it was nestled in, but I can see several other homes that were not in the area. So I think the project was designed well. I'm very pleased with the compliance with our hillside ordinance with stepping down. It is a large home, but I'm going to approve the project. Because I think it's a well-designed large home. So with that, let's move to the next item. And thank you, Planner Rago. You did a fantastic job. So item 5.3 is another public meeting for the Bertolino barge board replacement. Siding replacement, which is again exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. This is a landmark alteration number LMA 22-009 for the property located at 826 St. Helena Avenue. And this, again, I believe, oh, I'm sorry, this presentation will be by Planner Tumians again.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. So yes, this is a proposed minor landmark alteration permit for barge board replacement on the front facade of an existing residence within a historic district. This slide shows an aerial of where the property is located off of St. Helena Avenue, in between Austin Way and 4th Street. And oops, here we go. This is what the applicant provided as far as a site plan showing where the house is located. I had to familiarize myself with what barge boards are. So barge board is that sort of decorative eave molding that you see around the peak of the front facade of the house. And over time, some may call it gingerbread. The little pieces chip off or deteriorate and are in need of renovation or replacement. And so that is what Mr. Bertolino is requesting. Here's another drawing showing the barge board. The applicant is proposing to replace it exactly the way it was with the same material. And our code requires a minor landmark alteration when there is a repair to an exterior material. Here's a photo showing the residence and the barge board molding. Here's a close-up photograph that the applicant provided. So you can see some of the pieces are just worn and damaged and missing due to age and weather and time. Staff is recommending approval because the replacement is using the exact same materials and the exact same design. And so staff is recommending approval of the barge board replacement. And the barge board replacement is exempt from CEQA because it's a repair or rehabilitation of the property. And applicant Bertolino is available if we'd like to make any comments or if you have any questions. And I'm also here if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions about the project. It seems pretty straightforward to me. And this is another painful one that was required to go through the entitlement process to replace those elements. And I just wanted clarification. It's not any siding. It's just the barge board at the trim, the decorative trim.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know what barge board was too.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that early on in the presentation. And so I'm not seeing a hand raised. I'm not seeing anything. My screen's not cooperating. So I can't tell if anybody's raising their hand, Lonnie. So I'm going to defer to you. Does the applicant want to say anything?
Yes, the applicant is raising his hand.
Okay, great.
Applicant Bertolino, I sent you a prompt to give you permissions to speak if you want to accept that. And then there's a place where you can unmute yourself at the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Okay.
There you go.
So I'm looking forward to replacing the barge boards, and thank you for the approval.
You bet. I need to open it up still for public comment. Are there any neighbors or anybody else that would like to comment on this project?
Zoning Administrator Murray, there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay. Then I'm going to look at it and tell you I approve the project. I wish we could have done it in a simpler manner. Congratulations. Go replace your barge board. Actually, there isn't a 10-day appeal period, so you may want to hold off on that just for a few days.
So what's the process in getting a building permit? Do I come down to the planning department and apply for a building permit after the appeal period?
You can apply for your building permit before the appeal period. They can issue the permit before the appeal period. It's just if we do receive appeal, you get basically a red tag to stop you.
Okay.
And you can apply for your building permit in person, or you can apply for it online.
Okay.
This is something my guess they can do over the counter, so it actually may be easier to do it in person.
Okay.
Schedule an appointment with QLess. And you can find those directions on our website.
Very good. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so our last item is again a public meeting, and this is for the Young Smith LLC home occupation. It is another project that is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. This is a conditional use permit number CUP 22-019 at 1414 Velma Avenue. And I'm gonna ask either Planner Tumians or Planner Rago to give a presentation. I know Planner Rago was having some issues with her computer, so.
Is it possible that we could take a 5-minute break? To see if
Absolutely.
we get any stuff?
I just saw your message. So yeah,
Okay.
let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break and see if we can't get her computer back up and running. Nervous sweat. Poor Anna. Unfortunately, stop. Sorry. I'm starving right now.
Zoning Administrator Murray, do you want to mute yourself?
Oh, did you hear me say I'm starving right now? Sorry. I'm gonna grab a snack. So I think we can get started again. I just got a message that Planner Rago's computer is up and running. Woohoo! There she is. Ready for your presentation?
Yes, I'm ready. So thank you, Zoning Administrator Murray. This is Anna Rago again, Planning Intern. For item 5.4, the project applicant at 1414 Velma Drive is requesting a minor conditional use permit for their home occupation, Young Smith LLC. The project applicant is requesting a minor conditional use permit for the use of the applicant's home garages to be used for the home occupation of gunsmithing. This typical business activities that the applicant would be conducting as a gunsmith are cleanings, maintenance, modifications, and repairs of firearms. The cleaning of firearms involves the disassembly of the firearm, deep cleaning of the parts, and then reassembly. The maintenance portion is closely related to the cleaning, but includes safety inspections. The modification of firearms can involve anything from the installation of telescopic sights to making a firearm compliant with California law. The repairing of firearms usually involves the troubleshooting of the firearm, then determining if a replacement part must be ordered or if the applicant can repair the part using hand tools or machinery. Much of the work is done by hand and does not require the use of machinery, but if it does, the equipment used does not cause any excess noise. Granting the permit would not constitute a nuisance or detrimental to the public interest, health, safety, convenience, or welfare to persons, property, or improvements in the vicinity, and the zoning district in which the property is located, in that the proposed and conditions no nuance is anticipated. This aerial shows the project site highlighted off of Grenville Road and Velma Ave. The parcel is zoned very low residential as R-1-6. The R-1 zoning district is applicable to the areas of the city intended to be maintained as residential neighborhoods comprised of detached and attached single-family homes. The proposed use is allowed within the applicable zoning district and complies with all other applications of the zoning code. There were no public comments made for this project. The proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and satisfies the provisions of CEQA in that a home occupation qualifies for a Class 1 exemption under Section 15301, and that a home business prevents negligible or no change in residential use or environmental consequence. The Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a minor use permit for the property located at 1414 Velma Ave, file number CUP 22-019. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Do you know if the applicant is present and would like to say anything about the project?
The applicant is present and would like to make a comment.
Chris, I just sent you a prompt to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'd just like to say thank you very much. And sorry, I'm a tidbit nervous. The process was done very well, and I appreciate the help of all those who were involved. So thank you.
You bet. And stay close by because I'm going to have some questions for you. But I'd like to see first if there are any members of the public that would also like to speak.
Zoning Administrator Murray, I don't see any hands raised at this time.
Okay. So Chris, thank you very much for pointing out and saying and thanking staff. And I totally get the nervous. I was saying before this meeting that I was really nervous about it too. So the whole meeting, not your item, but some of I reviewed the application and I reviewed the resolution. And I have a couple of questions. I see that you know, the noise ordinance and noise, odor, and a whole bunch of other things that you need to comply with in the conditions. One of the questions that I have is after you repair a gun, do you fire it to test it? And if so, how do you maintain the sound on that? Can we unmute him, or Chris, if you're trying to talk, you're muted.
There we go.
There you go.
So I would not be doing that at home, obviously. That would be done at a safe location, a shooting range.
Mhm.
So, and then I'd be transporting it back to my home and then delivering it to the client.
Okay. And then, and what about ammunition?
Ammunition is stored, but it's in locked cabinets in my home.
Mm-hmm. Are the guns also kept in locked cabinets?
Yep. My personal are kept in my own safe, and then I have a secondary safe that would be for clients.
Okay, so other than when you're working on them, though, all the guns would be kept
Yes.
in a locked. Okay, good. And then I have in your application description, it said that you may be modifying guns, illegal guns, to make them legal guns. I just need to ask this question for the record. Will you be modifying, would there be a situation where you would modify a legal gun to an illegal gun?
No, I place that in there because there are individuals who own something and may not know that compliances have changed.
Mhm.
And so might need something removed or attached in order to conform with California law. But that's more or less, most likely would not happen. But I would not be like handling any like illegal firearms.
Okay, given the sensitivity of guns right now, I would you be opposed to adding a condition that says that you would not be modifying a legal gun to make it an illegal gun?
I wouldn't be opposed to that. No, I would never make anything illegal in any way.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I know you can't control what people are doing with their guns, or that they have, that they know how to use them. But I would like to know and feel confident with a use permit for this, that nothing illegal was being created in your garage.
Of course.
And then, and I think I'm just doing a quick review about storage. I think I'd also like to add a condition that says that ammunition and guns will be stored separately, and that guns at all times, well, both actually at all times will be, except when you're working on them, will be kept in an appropriate safe, if that's all right.
Yes.
Yay. Well, with that, I am as modified with those additional conditions. And Ms. Rago, are you okay with those conditions?
Yes, I'm satisfied with those conditions.
Great. Will you do me a favor and modify the resolution before it comes over my way?
Yes, I'll go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Much appreciated. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and approve the conditional use permit. And good luck to you, Chris. I hope you have a successful business.
Thank you so much.
You bet. You bet.
It's been a long road to this, so.
So I know, and nothing moves swiftly through our department right now. We're working on that. I can assure you. So before we adjourn the meeting, I do want to say to everybody out there again that any decision made today is appealable within 10 calendar days. The 10th calendar day lands on Sunday the 29th. Monday the 30th, the city is closed. So that extends the appeal period to Tuesday, May 31st. If for some reason you do need to submit an appeal, please do so by quitting time that day. And to all of our applicants, anybody who wants a building permit, you can apply during the appeal period. So there you go. With that, I'm going to adjourn the zoning administrator meeting of May 19th at 11:10 a.m.